1996 dropped 15 tracks so raw, so precisely constructed that the industry moved right past them before the cassette tape had time to wear out. These are not the records that owned every radio station from coast to coast. These are the ones real heads played until the ribbon unraveled. Starting now, number 15. Number 15, Baha MAHDIA, You Know How We Do.
With the brothers, boo, you know how we do. When they pump it in the juice, it's gon' rock right.
Philadelphia gave hip-hop a lot of gifts, but what Baha MAHDIA handed the culture in 1996 on her debut album Coolidge was something critics praised and mainstream radio never fully absorbed. A voice that floated above the beat like smoke and rhymes dense without being aggressive. Produced in part by Gang Starr's own Guru, the track moved through its bars with a cool intelligence the era didn't always reward commercially. If you discovered her from a late-night cable music show or a DJ premiere set, you remember exactly where you were. She deserved a trilogy of platinum albums. She received respect from the right people, and that had to carry the weight. Number 14, Busta Rhymes. Woo-ha! Got you all in check. Now, Busta is not forgotten, far from it, but this specific record, the moment he detonated out of Leaders of the New School as a fully realized solo force, deserves revisiting on its own terms. The Erick Sermon production was chaotic in the best way. The delivery was kinetic, unpredictable, physically aggressive on the speakers. It reportedly peaked in the top 25 on the Billboard Hot 100 and announced something the culture hadn't quite seen before: performance energy at that frequency. Go back to that original single version and hear how violent and joyful it sounds at the same time. Number 13, Outkast, El Avators, Me and You.
Your mama and your cousin too.
Outkast as a whole is not buried history, but casual fans who discovered them later through Speakerboxxx may have missed the weight this single carried in 1996 off the album Atlians. Andre 3000 and Big Boi were rapping about struggle, loyalty, and southern dignity at a time when the coast still controlled the conversation. The production from Organized Noise was airy and sparse, a deliberate choice that sounded unlike anything else charting that year. It reportedly reached the top 5 of the Billboard Hot Rap Singles chart. If you have never gone back to AT-Aliens front to back, tonight is the night. Number 12, Mobb Deep, Drop a Gem on 'Em.
Got rock, got raped on the island, you officially got. Kick that dog shit, Bob Magazine.
1996 was a year shadowed by real loss in hip-hop, and this record came directly out of that darkness. The production was minimal and suffocating, cold and unforgiving in a way that only that era could produce. Prodigy's verse on this record ranks among the most unnerving deliveries of the entire golden era. It circulated on white label before wide release, which means a lot of heads who were not deep in the crates may have missed it completely. Go back, listen with the context of what 1996 felt like on the streets of Queensbridge. The record demands that weight. Number 11, Ghost Town DJ's My Boo. Atlanta's club circuit had its own language in 96, and My Boo was the phrase that crossed over. Released on the So So Def label, it reportedly charted strong on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a staple at skating rinks, house parties, and late-night radio across the South and Midwest. But outside of those regions, the record's full cultural weight was misread as novelty. It was not novelty, it was Southern infrastructure. Freaknik era Atlanta translated into a 4/4 groove that proved the region could move units outside of rap. More than 20 years later, it still sounds like a summer parking lot at midnight. Yo, if you are riding with us this deep into the archive, you belong here. Hit that subscribe button for Hip Hop Legends Archives. We keep the real culture alive every single week. Coming up next, we are getting into some bootcamp click history that will take you straight back to your Walkman. Number 10, Do or Die, Po Pimp.
Some shit. Pull up in the CADI, double L, bumpin' AC.
Chicago in 96 was not just about what would later become drill. It was about Do or Die delivering a Midwest street anthem produced in collaboration with Twista that hit like a combination punch. Po Pimp moved at a deliberate mid-tempo pace, all confidence and cool regionalism. Johnny P's sung Hook gave it a silky R&B spine underneath hard rhymes. It reportedly charted on the Billboard Hot 100, which was remarkable for a crew without major coastal media support at their backs. If you wrote Chicago off as a hip-hop market in '96, this record was the correction. Number 9, Nonchalant, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock in the morning. Where you gonna be?
Washington, D.C. produced a record in '96 that spoke plainly about poverty, social pressure, and the daily weight of survival, and radio gave it a genuine moment. 5 o'clock reportedly charted on the Hot 100, and its video received real rotation on music video programs. But Nonchalancy's follow-up momentum stalled somewhere inside the label machine, and the record became a time capsule instead of a launch pad. The production was warm, the message was direct, and the hook was built for wide recognition. She had everything the industry needed. The industry was not ready for her. Number 8, UGK, One Day.
This world we living in, man, it ain't nothing but draw.
Before Pimp C and Bun B became accepted icons of Southern hip-hop history, they were operating in a lane the coasts barely acknowledged. One Day from the album Ridin' Dirty showed the full range of UGK as storytellers, patient, detail-driven, and unwilling to simplify the Southern experience for outside approval. The production from Pimp C was layered with soul samples and grit that hit harder on a car subwoofer than almost anything charting that year. Ridin' Dirty is widely considered one of the defining Southern rap albums of the entire decade. If you missed this in '96, you owe yourself the full listening session front to back. Number 7, Crucial Conflict, Hey.
Yeah, hey, strangers feeling good today. I'm toe up from the floor.
Chicago's Crucial Conflict released a record in 1996 that reportedly peaked in the top 20 on the Billboard Hot 100, a genuine commercial moment. The production rode a country-flavored sample at a bounce tempo that was completely distinct from anything the coasts were offering. It was party music with a regional identity so specific it almost defied mainstream formatting, and yet it connected. The group had the look, the energy, and the single. The follow-through from the label side was uneven, and a second moment never materialized. But Hey still sounds exactly like summer. Some records just do. Number 6, De La Soul, Stakes is High.
Stakes is high. Man, yo, stakes is
what about
high.
that love?
Yo, it's about
1996 was the year De La Soul issued what many critics now consider a thesis statement for the entire era. Stakes is High was their direct response to what hip-hop was becoming: commercial, hollow, disconnected from its own roots. The title track, produced by J.D., later known as J.D. La, was minimalist and direct in a way that felt almost confrontational against the radio landscape of that moment. De La Soul were at a commercial crossroads when this dropped. Stakes is High remains among the most prophetic records of the decade. If you only know 3 Feet High and Rising, this album is the other essential. Number 5, Helta Skelta and OGC, Left Floor Lefla Eshkoshka.
Now big up to all my true heads in the east. Stalking the block, not leaving the house.
Bootcamp Click in '96 was operating at a frequency that Brooklyn street rap hadn't quite reached before. Rockin' Ruck from Helta Skelta alongside the Originu Gun Clipas combined on this track off the Nocturnal album to create something dense, layered, and completely internal to the Brooklyn culture producing it. Da Beat Miners handled production with precision and weight. If you were not already deep inside the bootcamp ecosystem, this record passed you entirely. That was the industry's failure, not the music's. Real heads who found it kept it in the crate permanently. Number 4, Heather B, If Heads Only Knew.
Twisted up like a pretzel, raining on hoes with weak shows like Trappist Bledsoe. My head so
Heather B was a voice from the Boogie Down Bronx who brought a street-level female perspective to mid-90s rap that was unflinching and precise. If Heads Only Knew, from her debut album All Glocks Down, did not receive the radio push it deserved. She had come up alongside KRS-One and the Boogie Down Productions movement, and her debut reflected that grounding, direct lyricism, no compromise, boom-bap production that sat perfectly inside the era's sonic identity. The marketing never matched the music. Real heads who found it kept it in rotation. It belongs in any Sirius 96 archive, no question. Number 3, Smooth Da Hustler, Broken Language, Brooklyn, 96.
Ass kicker, the track maneuverer, the box barrier, the off the dome rapper.
One of the most technically precise rap deliveries of the entire decade, built on a buck wild produced beat that gave the syllables room to breathe and then crush. Broken Language is widely discussed in hip-hop circles as an example of pure MC craft. No chorus dependence, no commercial softening, just bars stacked against bars with a mechanical precision that reportedly influenced how the next generation thought about breath control and cadence. It charted on rap singles charts but should have reached further. If you have not revisited this track since the cassette era, your ears owe it to you. Number 2, Lost Boys, Rainay.
Crazy CDs, understand cause she got G's. She said she's do what you want.
Queens in 96 had a specific sound, and the Lost Boys carried it with a warmth that most street rap deliberately avoided. Rainay was a love song built on a reggae-influenced production that crossed genres without ever losing its borough identity. Mr. Cheeks and the crew delivered something tender and specific, a record about real relationships set against real circumstances. It reportedly reached the top 30 on the Billboard Hot 100. The group's trajectory was altered by tragedy in the years that followed, making this record carry additional weight every time it comes back around. Put it on tonight and remember exactly what it sounded like coming through a car speaker in the summer of 1996. Number 1, Jay-Z, Dead Presidents 2.
Player, make your moves, get your mail. Fellas are coasting the SL, but can't post.
Before the empire, before the legacy was fully settled and the comparisons to Sinatra started, Jay-Z in early 1996 was a New York street rapper who had not yet released a debut album, pushing this single through the underground like an electrical current. The Ski Beats production sampled Nas, which created its own conversation in the streets. And Jay-Z's performance here was cold, specific, and hungry in a way that his later catalog would polish into something more refined and untouchable. Dead Presidents 2 is the document of what Jay-Z sounded like when there was everything to prove and absolutely nothing guaranteed. Go back to the beginning, hear it like it's the first time. That is the real history from Hip Hop Legends archives. If you lived through 96 or you are just now finding your way into the crates for the first time, drop a like and subscribe. Tell us in the comments which of these 15 records you remember from back in the day and which ones you are hearing fresh right now. We fact check everything to keep the culture's history straight. Until next time, peace, love, and hip hop. And that is why these records still deserve to be heard again.